Hello and welcome back to my channel. The box arrived a little damaged, so it's not like staying up, so I'm going to have to hold it the whole time. But welcome back to my channel. Today I have the WWE Ultimate Edition Dirty Dominic Mysterio. I wasn't going to get this figure until I saw that it was essentially a better figure than the Elite version of him, which, like, what I just said sounded really stupid, because all Ultimate Edition figures are better versions of Elite figures. But what I specifically mean is I bought a Dominic Mysterio Elite that had like the pink jacket thing. That figure was fantastic. I adore that figure. And then I saw a little bit of a review of this one, and it's essentially the same figure, just slightly better. And since I love that one so much, having something that's slightly better is definitely in my wheelhouse. I wasn't super excited for this one because I don't love this gear, but I don't care necessarily that I don't love the gear. It's still a good figure, and despite the fact that I don't love the gear. You know what I mean? You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm putting down? Are you picking up the objects that I am putting down, dog? Anyways, so let's get into it. Starting with the front of the box, you have this nice window packaging here showing you pretty much everything you get. Dirty Dominic Mysterio up there at the top. Ultimate Edition down there at the bottom. Dominic Mysterio on the side of the box. On the back of the box, you have live action Dom Dom. And then, of course, the action figure of him. A little bit cut off. A little bit of a bio. A little bit of all the other stuff. If you wanted to read it, go ahead and pause it. I'm not going to. Dirty Dominic Mysterio on the side of the box, and now we're back to the front, so we can transition to now it stays up. That's so funny. Transition to the figure. All right, so this is pretty much everything you get. Obviously, we'll talk about the figure in just a second because we do have a few accessories to go over. Starting with the most boring bit, the hands. Unfortunately, we only have one extra set of hands, which are these two open style hands. They do say Mysterio on the knuckles, and then of course the tattoos, whatever they are, dragon looks like, and a tiger. Those are fine. And then we have two extra head sculpts. Let's start with this smiling head sculpt, Dirty Dom smiling. One of the nicer head sculpts of Dirty Dom. I think this one's pretty decent. Of course, he had more of a goatee at the time, but this one is relatively decent. And then of course a more stoic, a more just like smug Dirty Dom head sculpt. I think this one's pretty good as well. I do like all the head sculpts we get, including this one on the figure, the tongue out. Of course, he is doing his taunt, his muscle man taunt, because he has muscles, which is very unique in WWE for a wrestler to have muscles. You also have that's what makes the taunt so funny to me. I watch OSW a lot. They comment on the only type of person to do that should be someone who doesn't have muscles. I argue it's funny to do it just in general, because you're in WWE. Everyone has muscles is what I find funny. So I don't necessarily mind it that Dirty Dom does that, because I think it's pretty funny. Of course, let's put on a normal head sculpt. This one, I suppose, works. No pop sound. You also get this entrance jacket with the nice vertebrae on the back, and then the assortment of different, I don't know. I think these are, like those bandana type things. I think it's in the style of that. Unfortunately, this is the hard plastic. I would have thought you'd be able to get away with like putting the jacket on without undoing those, but it sits a little too snugly for it to be able to do that. It is a nice jacket. It's not the worst thing in the world. I just don't like the hard plastic jackets, and I don't like it when it has this style of opening. I'd rather it just sit open, honestly. I know it's supposed to zip up. And then of course the figure itself has this, it's supposed to be like a shirt. I do love that they went with this one at Dirty Dom when he was like a babyface child. not a baby face, but like, you know, he had like no facial hair when he first joined the Judgment Day. I do like that this one's soft goods. The one that came with the Elite figure was rubber material. I didn't like that as much. This one, I would have thought it would just stretch over the body, over the torso to like slide down or slide up, but it's Velcro, which is maybe a better idea. So it Velcros onto the figure. But, you know, I think it works as is. Of course, you could just use a regular old t-shirt, I think. Just if you personally cut off some sleeves, you can maybe do some cool stuff with that. Now, the figure itself looks like this. I'm going to have to lower the camera a bit so we can see it a little better. There we go. Now, the figure itself, I think, looks pretty good. Like I already said, this wasn't my favorite attire of Dirty Dom. I don't hate it. I do think it's supposed to be reminiscent of... I can't think of his name, that famous luchador whose name I don't know. I think it's reminiscent of him specifically. La Parca, I want to say. But I'm not exactly sure who it is. But I do like it. It's just not my favorite, especially compared to the Elite attire. I do think the Elite attire was a little bit better. I do also think we didn't get a Chase. I do think this could have been the Chase figure with a different version of Dirty Dom. But I digress. This isn't the worst attire in the world. You do have the skeleton here with the vertebrae, and then of course the classic Dirty Dom wings, and then the tassels on the side. Same on the back, the vertebrae. Sucio. So yeah, I think that's specifically referencing La Parca, because I think he has that on his attire. I don't know. And then of course these, I think they're either bullet holes or they're flowers. I don't know which, but they look pretty good. As far as the actual articulation, I do believe this is a pretty decent figure. So let's start with the head, which obviously isn't going to be able to move much because of the hair. So back is non-existent. Forward isn't too shabby, but it kind of falls back down. Wiggle side to side, rotates all the way around, and I don't think it was actually on all the way, or it popped off pretty easily. Arms come up to about right there, rotates all the way around, swivel at the bicep, like so. Butterfly joint goes back, like so, forward like so. Double jointed pinless elbows to about right there. Wrist goes in, wrist goes out, wrist goes all the way around. Ab articulation, tilt side to side. Back like so, forward like so. Swivelage, swivelage. Let's try this head sculpt. Yeah, it's a little loose is the issue. It's just wanting to come back off if you move it at all because of the hair. But swivelage in both areas. Legs come up to about right there. Really, they go all the way around if you wanted. But until they hit their max, they go about right there. Drop down style hips. If you pull them, they drop down. Swivel at the thigh. Double jointed pinless knees. Buttery smooth. I love those knees. Swivel at the calf. Ankle is tight. I do like that. I prefer my ankle to be overly tight than to be overly loose. Toe hinge like so. Little tiltage. This is perfect. Not too tight. Pinless knees, pinless arms. Everything is pretty smooth except for the ankles, which is where I want it to be tight. This figure, so far, is my favorite figure I've opened this year. I haven't opened a whole lot this year. This might have came out last year, maybe, but I digress. It's fantastic. I absolutely adore the articulation. I love the accessories. I do think he should have came with some fist hands, especially with the unique paint for his fists. You can't just put on any old fist. But I do think we have some fists from other Dom Mysterio action figures that would work. So it's not the end of the world. I do think this is miles better than the other Dirty Dom figure, which I thought was a really good figure, but this one is so much nicer. It has everything I like about a wrestling action figure, and it's one of my favorite wrestlers at this moment. I absolutely adore it. I think the proportions are good. He's not too wide in the shoulders, even though he is wide. But that's just an ongoing issue with the Ultimate line. He's not loose anywhere, like is egregiously loose. Maybe in the head area, maybe that is the only problem. The ankles are perfect. Like I said, this is a fantastic figure. I opened this alongside the Umaga figure, which is not on screen, of course, and I think this is light years better than that Umaga figure. So let me know what you guys think down in the comments below. Leave a like, comment, and subscribe. All the things YouTubers ask you to do, just do it for me as well. And I will be back with another video, hopefully very, very soon. Bye.